Hi guys, and welcome to prediction week 3. Seems like it's flying already, doesn't it? We're already on game 3 already. We start with the lunchtime kickoff tomorrow, 12:30. Bournemouth versus Manchester City. Very good game on Monday night between Manchester City and Everton. I thought that Manchester City edged it a little bit. Obviously, being at home, the crowd was starting to get a little bit restless. Very good goal from Sterling, actually. I think they had more attempts and shots on target than Everton. In the end, so that's why I say that Man City just about edged it. I think that Bournemouth's going to be a bit of a tough test as well, being away from home. But I do think that Manchester City will win this one, but they're going to have to work for it. I'm going to go Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 2. We then go to the 3 o'clock kickoffs, and we start with Crystal Palace versus Swansea. I thought Swansea were a little bit hard done by last week, actually, against Manchester United. They just started to get into the game. They were getting a little bit stronger, and then obviously Manchester United made it 2-0, and then I think it was 3-0 like in a space of a minute and a half, something like that. And then obviously they went on to win 4-0 in the end. So I did feel a little bit sorry for Swansea in the end. Obviously Crystal Palace aren't going to have the same talent and quality as Manchester United, and I think this is going to be quite a tough but entertaining game. I'm going to go Crystal Palace 1, Swansea 1. We then have Watford versus Brighton, and again 2 teams that are going to be fighting probably around relegation zone. And again, even though it's away from home, I do fancy Brighton to win this one. I think they've shown me a little bit more than what Watford have this season so far. I'm going to go Watford 1, Brighton 2. I've then gone for a lively game. We have Huddersfield versus Southampton. Huddersfield have really took to light in the Premier League at the moment. Southampton still finding their feet a little bit, but I'm going to go for a really entertaining game on this one. I'm going to go Huddersfield 2, Southampton 2. We then have Newcastle versus West Ham. Again, 2 teams still struggling at the moment to find some form. So for that, I'm going to go Newcastle 1, West Ham 1. We then have Manchester United versus Leicester at 5:30. A lot of people are saying, that it was only West Ham, it's only Swansea. But I actually do think that, Manchester United are looking very strong this year. I think that they've had a couple of bad seasons. I think Jose Mourinho has worked on those weakness areas, and they're starting to look very solid, very strong at the moment. They brought in Matic from Chelsea. He seems to have made a massive difference as well. Lukaku from Everton, he's scoring some goals for them. Zlatan's also back in training now, so that's going to boost to their confidence. I'm not saying that Leicester's going to be a complete walk in the park, but it is at Old Trafford, and what I've seen at Manchester United at the moment, they do look very, very, very strong, and they do look like title contenders. So for that, I'm going to go Manchester United 3, Leicester 1. As I say, Manchester United are looking very, very, very strong at the moment. It looks like that Jose Mourinho has done his homework and he's gone out and bought the players that they need. So if he has done that, you have to say credit to Jose Mourinho, whether you like him or not. And as I say, Manchester United, this could be the season where Manchester United win the title. Who knows? As I say, that they are looking the strongest out of most teams at the moment, even though it has only been 2 games. But as I say, 2 games is 2 games, and they've got their top of the league. They've won. They've scored 4-0 twice. So, I would say it goes. You can't knock that. Yes, you can say that it's only West Ham or it's only Swansea, but you can only play what's put in front of you. I suppose the real test will be when they face Chelsea after the international break, I think it is, or it might be the week after that, I'm not too sure, but that'll be the real test anyway. But so for that game, I'm going to go Manchester United 3, Leicester 1. We then go to the Sunday kickoffs, and at 1:30 we have 2 1:30 games. The first one is West Brom versus Stoke, a bit of a derby there, a bit of a West Midlands derby. For that, to be honest with you, I thought Stoke were a little bit lucky last week against Arsenal. Get more into that in a minute. West Brom, yeah, it's at home. We know that Stoke's probably going to make it a little bit tough. So for this game, I am going to go West Brom 0, Stoke 0. As I say, I think Stoke rode their luck a little bit last week. I thought Arsenal absolutely battered Stoke, to be fair. Absolutely battered them. But you can't take away, Jack Butland, he kept them in the game. The defence was very solid. But I think on another day, I think Arsenal would have scored probably about 4 or 5 that day. They absolutely battered Stoke. But it just wasn't to be. Nothing was falling for Arsenal. And again, like I said about Manchester United, you can't knock it. Stoke got the 3 points against Arsenal, so you have to congratulate that. But I'm going to go 0-0 for that game on Sunday. The other 1:30 game on Sunday is Chelsea versus Everton. I'm really surprised actually that BT or Sky haven't put this game on Sky or BT. I'm really surprised by that, but nevertheless they haven't. For the game, what I've seen of Everton against Stoke, should I say, they looked very strong. It was only the 1 goal. They looked very strong. They looked quite comfortable through stages of Monday night. But as I say, Manchester City started to get a little bit strong towards the end, and they looked like they were struggling a little bit. But they did see it out, and they did get a point. I think it's going to be very similar this Sunday as well. It's at Chelsea. I thought Chelsea looked very strong against Tottenham. So for this game, I'm going to go Chelsea 1, Everton 1. I'm going to go for the same result that we had on Monday night. And then we have 2 4:00 kickoffs. We have Spurs versus Burnley. And again, I thought Spurs, they looked okay, but they wasn't the Spurs that they were last season, put it that way. Whether it's just game 1 or game 2, we'll have to see. Whether it's the Wembley bogey thing, I don't know, that people are talking about, not sure. But they just didn't quite look themselves, Tottenham. They had a few glimpses, where Kane smacked the post, and as I said, they only had a couple of glimpses, but I thought Chelsea just looked very strong on Sunday. But yeah, we'll have to see. But compared to Sunday's game, this Sunday against Burnley, I think we will start to see a stronger Tottenham team. It is at Wembley, but it is Burnley. No disrespect to Burnley, but I'm going to go Spurs 2, Burnley 0. And then to finish off the weekend, we have Liverpool versus Arsenal. It's always lively at Liverpool, between Liverpool and Arsenal. Well, it's always lively at Anfield anyway. But they've just come off a Champions League playoff game. Liverpool, will that play a part? I'm not sure. Arsenal, they'll be feeling a little bit pissed off, that they lost to Stoke after they battered Stoke with attempts and shots on target and what have you. As I say, it's usually lively, this one. So I'm going to take that into account. I'm going to go Liverpool 2, Arsenal 2. I think Sanchez is going to be in the game for this week as well, which is going to play a massive part for Arsenal. I don't think Philippe Coutinho is going to play for Liverpool, which is going to be a massive loss for them. If you want my honest opinion, I think Philippe Coutinho will be gone. For me, you just can't turn that. You just can't turn down that kind of money. I think Barcelona's offered them something like 135 million now, something like that. You can't turn down that kind of money. For me, Coutinho's going to go. Obviously, he won't be going this weekend, but I think deadline day around next week, if not deadline day, I think Coutinho's going to be a Barcelona player. Leave your comments in the comment section below about that speculation. If you're a Liverpool fan, what do you think? Do you think he's going to go? I personally just can't see a board turning down that kind of money. But let me know in the comment section below. So that has been my predictions for this week, guys. Kept it a little bit shorter this week. And we'll be back in 2 weeks because it's an international break already. But so I'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.